Hey guys, Miss Charlie here with a little bit of a tutorial kind of. I'm gonna do my base makeup using my project pan for the month of May. So I'm gonna show you the products that I'm using. I'm trying to go through some new things, a little bit of everything. So I'm just gonna do my base makeup. And I think I might do a separate video on my brows and how I do my brows. But I do have a video showing my base makeup. I haven't done this, excuse me, done this video in a while. But it shows how I do my brows. So I might just do a separate video showing how I do my brows. But we're gonna go ahead and get into this video. But I've already done my lips. And I'm using my e.l.f. lip scrub. I've gone through so many of these. I've used these for years, probably 10 years or more. I've gone through so many of these and I always go back to it. But this is just the blue sugar. The brown sugar lip scrub from e.l.f. So I already added that. And then for lip balm, I'm using the Lipstick Queen. If my camera would focus there. This is just a little mini that I got. It is the yellow one. Can't see the name because I don't have my glasses on. But it's the yellow one. And it's one of those ones that change color when you put it on. And you can see on the component, it's changed the component to the color, which is like a pink. So I've already put that on. And it's pretty moisturizing, but it leaves a little bit of a pink tint, but that's okay. I just want something to, you know, soften my lips while I'm getting everything else together. So after I do that, I usually put on some type of hydrating mist. I either use the Mario Badescu or I have a few other ones that I use. But this one I got, I think, in a box. This is by OC. And this is a Sea Minerals Mist, and the spray can be a little aggressive if you don't clean the nozzle, but right now it's doing good, so I'm gonna spray that all over. And that's for hydration, because my skin can be dry. And then get my old man in the sea fan, and let that evaporate and sink in. Okay, so then next I'm going to put on my moisturizer and my eye cream. And the moisturizers that I've been using is this one from Payot, and I have cut it open. I've been using that one, and I will switch them out every other day because I'm also using the Glow Recipe, the banana, come on, focus, let me move, there we go. The Glow Recipe Banana Souffle one, and I'm gonna use that one today, and it's really like moussey. I'm gonna put some of that on. And then I'm gonna blend that in. And I get kind of dry around my nose and the sides of my mouth, so I like to make sure that that's nice and hydrated. And depending on the time of the year, I'll get dry more so on my chin. But I concentrate around my nose and around here and my chin. And this is not greasy. It goes in pretty well, but I like to make sure it's well incorporated into my skin and down my neck. So there's my moisturizer. And then for eye cream, I'm using this Dermalect, and this is a eyelid and dark circle corrector. Professional strength, it says. And it has one of those metal tips on it, which I like because that helps to depuff and it feels nice. So I just put a couple dots here and some on the lid, and then just go in with that. And I have noticed a little bit that my dark circles have reduced a little bit from using that, but not a lot because they're dark, especially on this side of my eye. A lot of concealers won't conceal it. I just try to tone it down, but that's fine, that's fine. So next I'm going to use a primer, and this month I'm using the NYX Shine Killer. I got this from TJ Maxx. You only need a little bit. I'm putting a small amount because it's kind of like that silicone. Kind of feels like the Smashbox one, the original one. You don't need much, and you do need to make sure it's incorporated, because if it's not, your foundation will just sit right on top of it and look really cakey. So you have to work this in like you work in your moisturizer and make sure it is well incorporated, especially around your nose, because I didn't incorporate it one time and I wonder why my nose was so cakey, because I didn't work it in good enough, and it just kind of sat on top. My powder and my foundation just sat on top of that. And there's that. Now for concealer, I have been using the Benefit Boing Concealer. This one is in number 4. It's almost used up. Come on, open up. She is at the bottom, so I'm like scraping the side, so she's about done. And then I'm using the Catrice Camouflage. I used up the darker one because I bought 2 of them so I can mix them, and they work just fine. If you use concealer or do your makeup almost every day, this only lasts for like a month, so you'll have to buy another one, but they're not that expensive. I think they were less than $5, and I think I got them on sale for less than that, so that's why I got 2 of them. But I'm using this, but today I'm not going to use this. I have been using the Item concealer that I got in a BoxyCharm. I really like it. I got it in a little bit of a darker color so I can mix it. And it has a big doe foot applicator. So I put some on the back of my hand. And then I put some of the Catrice and mix it together. You can see the 2 tones there. And I get my little brush. This is just a nail brush. I have nail art brushes that I use just for makeup, and then I have my nail art brushes that I use obviously for nail art. But it's a cheap way to get really precise brushes if you need them. And I use this to carve out my brows and my wing, and then also to mix things. So I've mixed that together. And then I'm just going to just tap a little under my eyes, around here, on my chin, and over here I have some discoloration, so I'm just gonna tap it, what's left on the brush, not much, and then I'm just gonna go in with the warmth of my finger and help to conceal some things before I put my foundation on. Like here I have some spots. And the warmth of your finger helps it to melt in better. I mean, some spots I may use a brush, a little brush, but this for me, like I was picking right here, so it's a little red. So I want to try to cover that a bit. And my smile lines can be a little deep. And I'm not putting anything else on the brush, it's just whatever is left on it, because I'm going to put foundation on and then I'm going to go over like under my eyes with more foundation. I'm not going to go over this down here because I don't want it to be cakey. But and then up here, just putting the rest of what's on my brush, which is not much at all left on there, and then go in with the warmth of my finger and try to get some of this darker portion calmed down. So then when I put my foundation on and then my concealer over it, I'm not trying to, you know, do too much or put too much on to make it cakey. Of course, it tones it down. It doesn't have to be totally concealed. I just want the darkness toned down. And this color is more red and this one is more cool. So me putting those together, that kind of helps tone it down. So it's still a little dark, but it's not as dark. So I still keep this on my hand. Then I go in with my foundation, and the foundations that I'm working through is the CoverGirl. This is the CoverGirl Full Spectrum. A lot of people don't talk about this foundation, but it is really good. And I am scraping the bottom of this. And then I'm using up my NARS. This is the Sheer Glow. And she is all the way down here. So I'm trying to use her up. Just get them done. And what I do is I'll take them and put them in a small little container like this. You can get this at the dollar store. You get like 6 or 8 of them for $1.25. And then I mix them together. So I have them in there. So then I don't have to keep scraping it out or whatnot. I already have it mixed and ready to go. And then in the lid portion, let me clean this brush off. In the lid portion, that's where I take the rest of my concealer. And then I have that already mixed for when I do my brows and my wing. So I already have it all ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on my foundation. I'm gonna try not to drop it on myself because I usually put on a bib. I have an old kitchen towel. Let me put this down, that I will use like a bib, like this, and wear when I'm putting on foundation and stuff, because I'm one of those people that will drop it and then your clothes are messed up. And so I learned a long time ago, put something on it. And I also have a towel in my lap because I'm one of those people that will drop stuff. So I'll put on my little bib and then I'm going to go in with my foundation, and I'm just using my little brush because I don't use a lot. I just like a light layer. It looks like a lot, but it's really not. And that's it. And then I'm gonna go in with my beauty blender. Let's squeeze out some of this moisture, because you don't want it too wet, because then it's going to pick up the foundation and then it's going to be splotchy and it's going to pick up your skincare and all that stuff. Oh, we don't want that. If your beauty blender is not, you know, if it's been sitting for a minute after you washed it that morning and you need to moisten it, just use some Fix Plus or a facial spray to, you know, just dampen it. So this is good, this is good. And I'm just gonna go in and blend this out. And I do one side of my face at a time. And I also put it on my eyes in the places where I put concealer. I don't swipe, I just pat, because I don't wanna swipe that away. And I also go down my neck and over here by my ear. I swipe down my neck, but my face, I usually just pat. Again, especially in the places where I spat, sorry. Put the concealer. And I don't need much on my forehead, so I don't put a lot up there. And if you think you put too much foundation on and you're like, oh, I think I put too much, just turn your sponge over and take off the residual with the other side that doesn't have any product. And then just go over it and get that extra off. But I don't put on a lot of foundation because I don't like the feeling of it. I put on just enough to even out my skin. That's plenty. If you can see my imperfections, you know, slightly, that's fine, because that makes it look more natural than if you're just one big slate of, you know, non-dimensional slate, and you have to have some dimension. So there's my foundation. Real simple. Real easy. Now I'm going to go back in with concealer on the under eyes, and I'm going to use my little Real Techniques sponge for this. I'm getting some of the moisture out. This is my little Real Technique. Looks like this one. I'll put the name of this sponge. This came in a 6-pack or 4-pack or something. These are so nice and soft. And then the Real Technique one looks just like it, but I use it for under eye. For my powders, I'm using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus in Deep and Translucent. So those are the ones that I'm using. This is the translucent one. You get a lot in here. I think it's like $5.99. You get a lot of product. And then this is the deep one. They last you for a while. This is my second one of these, and I'm still on my first one of these. You can see still a lot in there. And I've had the deep one for almost a year because I only use it sparingly. Plus I have a lot of powders, so it's gonna last me a while. So what I'm gonna do is go into my concealers that I have already mixed in my little lid here. And then I'm just gonna go where I see more darkness. I'm not gonna go all the way up to my eye. I will bring that up with the sponge, because I see some people put it way close to their under eye. And I've tried that and I get it in my eye. So I'm just gonna put, I don't have to put a lot. It's a little bit more than what I did before, but not a lot still. Then I'm gonna take the butt end of my sponge and I'm gonna dip into the deep, and then I'm gonna dip into the translucent words. And then I'm just gonna go in and blend down first and then up towards the eye. And I'm not swiping, I'm patting. Bring that out. And then any residual I will use on my lid. And see, I can still see a little bit of darkness, but it's all right. It's a lot better than it was. And if I need to add a little bit more, I can. Just a little. And again, I'm going down and then up towards the eye. And I have lines under my eyes because I am in my 50s. So I have lines, which is absolutely fine. I just don't want to put a lot of product in them. So I make sure that, you know, there's nothing cakey in there, you know, that could, you know, when I put the powder on, it's gonna stick to and make it look cakey. And then I go in right away and set it with those two mixed together. There. And then I'm gonna go do the other side and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm gonna go in and just powder the rest of my face. And I still have my little bib on so I don't get powder all over because I'm wearing black. So I'm gonna take this part of my cat hair of my sponge and I'm gonna dip it into the deep and then into the translucent. Tap it off, and then I'm just gonna go straight down underneath. I do my brows because I sweat on my brows, and then over the rest of my face. And even though I am putting powder on when I go to do my brows and carve them out with concealer, it's not going to interrupt the powder because I'm not putting that much on. Not putting that much on at all. See, that took care of my face. Everything is set. And mixing those together, it just makes a perfect color because the deep is fine, but I like mixing it with the translucent. And I'm not cakey around my nose, I'm not cakey around my mouth, I'm not cakey at all. And there's that. And I'm gonna go do my brows and I'll see you in a minute.
But the look came together well, and I think that speaks well to the...
Okay, so we're back. I got my brows on. I used the Broadway Colors Eyebrow Kit in black dark brown. Got this at the dollar store. It has two colors and a wax in it. And then I used my Wet n Wild Color Icon pencil in Sema Brown. I use this as a lip liner, an eyeliner, and a brow liner. I got that at the Dollar Tree as well. You can probably get that at any drugstore. I think they're like 99 cents or a little over $1, not much. I used up my Kat Von D Signature Brow. I love this. I need to get another one. Also sad when I used it up, but I will be repurchasing this if I can still get this. And this one is in the color Graphite. So good. So I used that up. Now we're going to do the rest of the base face, which is contour, bronzer, highlight, and blush. So for my contour, and I'm using the Paradise Glow palette, and this is from Revolution, collabed with Tammy Clark, and she did 2 of these, and this is the one that I got in Paradise Glow. And it has a blush, highlighter, bronzer, and a contour, but this bronzer is way too dark for me, so I mixed these 2 together to make them into a contour. So that's what I'm going to do, and I contour my nose first, and I use just a little flat brush. This is a Wet n Wild. Oh, this is an e.l.f. brush I've had forever, and I just dip because they're very pigmented. You don't need much of these at all. So, and then I just go in and start up here where my brow is and come down that, and just dip, and then come over to the other one.
I remember, I think I talked about this in the video where I was remembering a lot of ways I started
like
out
that.
with makeup, but some of those.
Then I'm going to use my Royal & Langnickel angled, fluffy angled brush to blend that out.
Yeah, I just thought that was the way it was supposed to be. I just accepted the fact that I couldn't curl my lashes. I definitely don't like how this.
Sorry, I was watching Emily. Forgot she was on there. It's alright. And then I just blend that out. And I just added a little bit more dimension to my nose, since you know you have a blank canvas and you just want to add some more dimension back to your face. So that just adds a little bit more dimension. Then I go in, I'm using this is a Wet n Wild brush, and then I'm just going to dip into 1, 2 each side. It's very pigmented, and then I'm going to contour. You don't need much of this. It's very pigmented, and it blends out very nicely. And I'm blending up this way, not down, blending up, just to add a shadow back to my face. This here I blend down and across. A little bit under your lip, just makes your lip look a little fuller with that shadow. And you don't need much. Well, I don't use much anyway. And that just adds a little bit more dimension to your face, to your canvas. Then I'm gonna go in with this is a Moda Pro pointed brush, and I'm gonna go into a contour, and this is what I use for contour. This is from Beauty Benefits. I got this at the Dollar Tree years ago, at least 2 years ago. I got this color and another color that was a little too dark. I got rid of that one. This powder is so good. So good. I'll be so sad when it's gone, but I have plenty of contours. It's very finely milled. You don't need much, and it blends out my contour so nicely, and it's just a pressed powder. You can use your powder for anything. I use pressed powders for contour and bronzer all the time. You don't have to use them just for pressed powder. All over the face. And there's that. I love this powder, and again, I'll be sad to see it go when it's all used up. So the colors that I'm gonna be wearing today, because I'm gonna do a tutorial later, are purple. So the highlights that I have are warm and cool, depending on, you know, the look that I'm doing for the day. So since I'm gonna be doing a cool tone, I'm not gonna use the one in here because this is more golden. It's more golden, so I'm not going to use that. It's more peachy. Yeah, more of a peachy gold. So I'm not going to use that. And I also have this little e.l.f. Bite Size Duo. This is in Spiced Apple, but this is warmer. This is warmer as well, so no, I'm not going to use this because it's more of a gold, a peachy gold too. So what I'm going to use is, let me put this away. I'm going to use a highlighter that I took out of one of the BH not the Birthstone, the Zodiac palettes that they had a couple years ago. I didn't like the eyeshadows in there, but I liked the highlighter that was in the middle. So I depotted that and put it in here and got rid of the palette. And it's a peachy, it's a peachy pink. So this would go good with the purple, since I'm going to be wearing purple. I don't know if it'll show. I can't. You can kind of see it there. It's more of a pinky color. So that's what I'm going to wear as a blush, but then not as a blush, as a highlight. For blush, I'm going to use this Ofra palette. And this is their Charm Your Cheeks palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm. These are really pretty colors. Really pretty, and you don't need much. And I'm going to use this brush from Half Cake. This is their 813 Duo Fiber Brush. And since we're doing pinky purples, I'm going to go into this color here, which is like a rose, and then this one, which is like a little deeper rose. And that's all I'm going to do is what I just did. Pick that back up and put that on. And it goes good on both cheeks. You don't need much. And I like mixing blushes, you know, to get the color that you want. And put a little across the nose. It's not, they blend really nicely, and this brush really helps because it's a dual fiber. And it's a little bit glowy, not much, but you can see a little bit of a glow in that. And then I'm going to use the Juvia's Place highlighter brush. This is the 01 brush. This came with the Fumi set that I bought. So I'm going to use that, and I'm just running my brush into the lid of that. I don't need much, just whatever's in the lid. And then I'm going to put some here, here, upper lip, chin, and cheek. And this will also blend into the blush because they're same color. It's got the rosy color and then the pinky color of the highlight. And this brush does great with blending, and I do put a little bit, go up in a C and then blend down. And then go back in with my blush brush if I need to make it more cohesive. But you can see that pinky, glow. So pretty. So pretty. So there's that. And we did a lot of steps, but we do them in light layers. And that makes it last longer too if you do things in light layers. So now we're just gonna set this down. And I'm gonna use my Fix Plus. And that just sets down the powder. And then a fan. And that just sets down your powder and makes it melt into the skin. So if you say, oh, it looks a little cakey, spray a little bit, facial spray, Fix Plus, even setting spray, and let it melt into the skin. Yep, I'm not cakey anywhere. Everything looks pretty good. There. So there's my base makeup using my Project Pan items for the month of May. If you'd like for me to do one for the month of June to show you the products that I'm using there, let me know. Or if you, excuse me, if you'd like to see me do this every month, that's fine. I'll be glad to do that. I do basically the same routine, but then you can just see different products and how they look, or my skin tone, or how they work with my skin and things of that nature. But this is what we did today. Very simple. You can just go out like this. You can just put on mascara, liner, and you're done if that's what you want to do. This takes me to do this at least 30 minutes because I like to take my time, because I do my brows. If you don't have to do your brows, you can probably do this in 15 minutes or less. If you don't wear a lot of makeup, or if you don't wear a lot of eyeshadow, even if you're doing eyeshadow, you can do something really, really quick and simple and be done. But this is my base makeup and how I do it. Thank you so much for coming by. Again, I appreciate you all who support, either here or on Instagram. I appreciate you all. I like those that I engage with. I like engaging with people. So if you have a question, please let me know. I'll be glad to answer any, and we can talk. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and check out my other videos, and there will be more to come. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. And thanks for watching. Bye.